Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, your daily fix of football chat on STV. The main talking points tonight: Hibs have the chance to reduce the gap on Rangers to only 2 points if they can defeat Livingston tonight at Easter Road. Kenny Miller has signed a one-year extension that'll keep him at Ibrox until 2017. And the Republic of Ireland are probably still celebrating. They're going to the Euros in France in 2016. Just a few of the topics we'll be discussing tonight. Alan Rough and myself, Peter Martin, in the company of our bootroom guest, the Motherwell legend Stevie Kirk, who, I may add, is also on the board of Albion Rovers, and it's looking good for you guys at the moment. We had Darren Young in, the manager, and everything seems to be heading in the right direction, Stevie.
It is heading in the right direction, and I need to review Darren's contract as soon as I'm now the chairman. So yeah, we're in a position where I don't think a lot of people expected us to be. Right now, the team's playing out their skin. They're going places, getting results. Had a bad one at the weekend against Ayr United, but the weather's put paid to a couple of fixtures recently, so it's maybe taking the momentum away from them. But they're doing well.
We spoke to Darren about the expectations for the season from a manager's point of view. What is it from the chairman's point of view? Well,
he was. When we had the meeting at the start of the season, Roughie, I did say to him that he needed to just try and consolidate and finish in this league and stay in there, because there's a lot more revenue in there, there's bigger teams in there, more fans coming through your gate, so, and it's better for the players, and you attract a better quality player as well. So the remit was survive, and I think at this moment in time I think they're doing a lot better than that.
Yeah, I wonder what the remit is, Roughie, for Hibernian for tonight's match. You know, I've spoken to Leanne Dempster a few weeks ago up at the Falkirk Stadium when Hibs were there and managed to get a win. They're squeezing out these wins even when they're not at top form. Tonight is one of those ones you would expect them to win.
Yeah, it's a must win, and every game they have now is a pressure game. I saw the Rangers players saying that let's see how they react to the pressure, and it is pressure and they will have to react. Last year that was the failing, they weren't reacting against some of the teams at the bottom of the league, but that hasn't been the case this year. So every time they go out and play and get a 3 or a 4-0 convincing win, it just emphasises that they're going to be there at the end.
This is a great season for what I call the classic noise up, Stevie, because quite simply, if it's not the two managers having a ding dong at each other between Mark Warburton and Alan Stubbs, you know, the players are just cranking it up week in, week out. Can you handle the pressure? And you know, Hibs seem to be passing these tests game after game.
Well, I think Hibs they've been through it for a couple of years, so and they've got quite an experienced team. Rangers are a bit more younger squad, players that have not really played at the top level for a long time. So I think it's great for Scottish football, but to be honest, the Premier League needs them both. I think they need to both get back in there, as does, I think the Premier League needs more teams anyway, but that's another point for another day. I think it'll be a cracking game, but the pressure that's on the players, especially at Ibrox, it'll be phenomenal. They need to get out of that league, they need to get back in the Premier League, and I think the pressure will tell more on them than it will on Hibs.
Yeah, as far as the Hibs team's concerned, suddenly when you've got a team playing well, Roughie, suddenly you've got clubs all looking at players. Now, Jason Cummings is undoubtedly going to attract attention. If I was Jason Cummings, I mean, money is obviously the driving force in this, but surely another year, a couple of years at Hibs, he could have the pick of his clubs if he develops the way he's going at the moment.
Yeah, but in saying that, Peter, what he has to do is he has to listen to the right people. He has to listen to the people who are giving him advice. Obviously, Alan Stubbs will give him advice, his agent will give him advice. It would depend what club it was, how much it was, but you would like to think, in light of Hibs losing Scott Allan, I don't think the supporters would be too happy if anything else was to happen to any of the other big players. He's an important part of the team, particularly when he's playing well and scoring goals.
Was there someone, Stevie, at your peak where you listened to who gave you advice, the best advice?
I used to try and take every bit of advice on board for any senior member of the squad, or the manager or coach or whoever. But I think in my time, starting as young as I did at 15 at East Fife, there used to be an old striker there called George Dewar, who used to be the assistant manager, and he used to give some really, really good advice. So I think I've been fortunate enough to work with good coaches, good managers, i.e. Tom McLean, Alex Smith when he was at Wraith Rovers, fantastic guys, know a great deal about the game. And Alex Smith gave me one bit of advice one day, and he says, listen to everything everybody tells you and retain what you want in your own head, let the rest out. And it's a true saying. Yep.
Here's a man who really doesn't have to listen to anyone now. He's at the tail end of his career. He's got a 1-year extension at Rangers. I think he's a shining example to any young professional. Roughie, Kenny Miller. You know, he takes care of himself, keeps himself fit. He works tirelessly when he's in a game. I mean, he's a guy who doesn't leave anything in the dressing room.
Yeah, he comes under the category model professional. Every time you hear about him, he's always good with the kids at the club. He's always wanting to give advice, pass it on, and you're right, on the park himself, he's just tireless, you know. And any player playing round about him will see the work rate that he puts in, and I'm sure they all respond to that, and I'm sure the whole dressing room would be happy that he's got the extension.
Yeah, were you a good trainer in your day, Stevie?
Not really.
No. No. Don't worry, you're in good company.
I didn't. Oh no, he used to bring his salmon used to training at Park the Thistle. But no, I trained. I used to obviously try and get the pre-season under your belt. For the amount of times that I was on the pitch, for 20 past 4 to 4:30 to 4:45, then I didn't need to train a lot. But I took the training seriously, and you can't emphasise enough to young kids. I mean, Kenny Miller's a great example. Still playing, a 1-year extension in his contract, still virtually at the top level in Scotland. So, yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him, he's done well.
Absolutely. So Kenny Miller signs a 1-year contract extension. In other news, Roughie, I mean, I watched it last night. The Republic of Ireland, the whole country will probably still be celebrating. It's painful for us because, you know, we would love to be at the big party. We're on the outside, but last night they got a helping hand. I thought the referee, gave them a very soft penalty to get them on their way.
Yeah, it's a rule that it's baffled me since it's come in, you know, and I always feel that the referees, some of them interpret it right, some of them don't, and an occasion like that to put yourself on a back foot with a decision like that when you're playing reasonably well, it's a hard one to take. You know, I know it happened with us. Remember at Anfield with Joe Jordan, and then again in Cardiff with I think it was Davy Cooper scored that we had decisions like that, and it turned the game for us. And I can feel really sorry for the opposition last night, because to go up behind like that when you think you've got a chance of winning, it's a hard one to take. But in all credit to them, you know, they really saw the game out. And you're right, the scenes at the end, and it was for me it was Roy Keane, you know, who had been through it all, but you could feel, you know, that he was experiencing something that you never ever experience again, you know, and you're celebrating with the fans, and he talked about the dressing room, all the singing going on in the dressing room, and it just reminded me at Anfield when we qualified for Argentina. It was a night to remember, and you just want the night to go on forever.
Yeah, and to be fair, of all nights, I mean, when you consider how the Republic of Ireland were denied getting to a major championships the last time with France, I don't think we can begrudge them that little bit of luck.
I don't think so. I think they played really well. For me, it was never a penalty, but you need a wee bit of luck in the games. As Roughie says, I remember the Anfield penalty and the one at Cardiff, and we were lucky then. Scotland were lucky then. So the Irish deserve a wee bit of luck, and I don't think there'll be much Guinness left over there this morning.
No, you're absolutely right. Are we that far behind them, Roughie? I mean, it was so close.
No, I didn't think we were. I mean, we coped well with them at Parkhead. We didn't play particularly well over there. But on the whole, if it was a two-legged affair, you know, we would have been through. And the same with Poland, we did particularly well with them. So I don't think we're that far behind. We just need that wee rub of the green. Yeah.
Do you think we've got the talent coming through, Stevie? It's a $64,000 question, really.
Well, I like what I see at the moment. I think Roughie's right. I think they've done well. They just switched off for a split second against Poland, and it cost them dearly. But the guys that are coming through and into the full squad, yeah, I think there's light at the end of the tunnel there, and rolling the next qualifying.
Yeah, I know you said it slightly tongue-in-cheek, but not a bad way to be remembered if you get 20 minutes as a sub in his career. You know, one of those substitute appearances, Roughie, gave him legendary status for that Motherwell Dundee United Cup final.
Yeah, and as a footballer, okay, you can earn as much money as you like, but when you're in the record books and when people meet you and they remember things that you've done in the game, it's always good when you retire that you have something left in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I know going through Stevie's head right now, he said it would have been nice if there was money there as well. We'll ponder how much he would have been worth in today's market. Alan Rough is with me, Peter Martin and Stevie Kirk. We'll talk more football after the break. Welcome back to Peter and Roughie's Football Show. Alan Rough is with me, Peter Martin. Our boot-room guest tonight is the Motherwell legend, Stevie Kirk. Delighted to have your company. Stevie, obviously I mentioned Motherwell there. Mark McGee back in charge. There's a lot of good feeling first time around, a lot of goodwill for Mark. Second time around, do you feel he has to win them over again?
Well, I think he'll feel he has to win them over because he left. That's basically it, the bottom line. But he was successful there before. I don't see why he can't be successful again. Obviously the fans need to get behind the team. They've not had the best of starts to the season, so they need to get right behind him and back him up. He's the guy that's in charge. He's been placed in charge, so he needs the backing of the fans.
Yeah. Have you been surprised by the start to the season and where Motherwell found themselves at the tail end of last season and now this season with a change of manager?
I was surprised I was shocked last season. But bear in mind, I mean, they did have early doors, they did have a lot of injuries. Lasley, Hamill, Ramsden, I mean, key players for them, experienced players. But as the season went on, I thought they would turn the corner, but it was never ever coming. And I did fear for them in the playoff, but they took care of that. But I thought they would have started the season flying, having a wee jolt, and then obviously Ian Barclough gets them going, but just turned sour for them, and now they need to pick the pieces up under Mark McGee and try and charge up that league.
We're back to the Premiership this weekend, Roughie. I'm just looking at the managers and the players and the build up to the games getting back onto the domestic scene. Paul Hartley has mentioned that he thinks Dundee are a work in progress, still a bit of shaping to do despite all the signings they made in the summer months. He still feels as if there's still a bit of development before they get to where they want to be.
Well, I think when everybody looked at the signings that he was bringing in, obviously Hemmings, Rory Loy, you know, in the early part of the season it looked as if it was working, but all credit to Paul. I thought in the early part of the season that Dundee were possibly the most attractive side in the league. I think they were going to away games, they were trying to win the games, they weren't sitting in, they were playing attractive football, scoring goals, but in all credit to Paul, he's identified that possibly you can't do that every time. He's got to have a look at the structure of the side and just set out his team not to lose goals, and I think that's what he's going to have to try now. He's been getting into games with 3 strikers, you know, and there's not many teams in the SPL are doing that, so I think it's just a matter of restructuring and you know, seeing where it takes him.
He's one of those new breed of young managers coming through. You have one at Albion Rovers as well, and it's always nice when they've got that little backup of experience. I mean, Darren had Sandy Clark, now has Billy Stark, and even Paul has Jerry McCabe there to offer you know, a great insight when times get a little tough.
Yeah, Darren's got a very experienced coach in Billy. And as has Paul with Jerry McCabe. Sandy helped Darren to start with. They got promotion, which was brilliant, and then moved on to Dunfermline. But Billy's came in. Billy's managed the under 21 national side. He's been at the high level for a long time. And I wouldn't dream of telling Darren his job or Paul Hartley's job. But as Roughie says, I think especially in the top league, you've got to pick the games that you think you can win and go for it. There's other games that you'll sit in and try not to lose a goal. You'll start the game tentative, but as the game goes on, you'll feel your way into it. I think Darren Young is a progressing young manager. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that because of the success he's had, that there's not been any interest. But if it continues, who knows?
Yeah, Roughie, I always sometimes look at some of the newspaper stories that come out, and a couple caught my eye, not because it was any earth-shattering news, but just basically because it was something that we already knew, but it was merely confirmed by the player, which was Stefan Johansson saying that he admits his form hasn't been great this season. To cut the boy some slack, he's had injuries that he's had to put up with as well, and he was the player of the year last year for the PFA.
He was a breath of fresh air last year. He was everything, box to box, scoring goals, quite rightly player of the year. But again, I mean, Stevie will know more than anybody. When the pressure's on you to perform week in, week out, particularly at a team like Celtic, sometimes pressure gets to you. Sometimes, you know, you pick up wee niggling injuries, you don't want to step out, you want to keep playing. And sometimes you're better taking a step back. Sometimes you're better the manager leave him out for 3 or 4 games just to get a respite and then bring him back. But they haven't done that. You know, they've continued to keep playing him, and then he's got his international games, and he's no different from anybody else. Everybody goes through a bad spell. You've just got to work your way out of it.
I think it's quite difficult though as well when you're tagged with being the manager's favourite, Stevie. That kind of maybe unfair on the lad. You know, if he's not playing well, you should just take him out, give him a rest. If he's got injuries, take him out of it. He's not the first or the last player ever to play through the pain barrier.
No, he's not. But technically, he's brilliant, and he's a very accomplished player. But I agree with Roughie. Everybody goes through a bad spell. The manager maybe needs to look taking him out. I don't think the fans would like it, but some of the fans are getting on his back because he's not performing as he has done. Now, the guy could have an injury, he could have something wrong off the pitch, you don't know, and it could be telling on him. So it's maybe time to just take him out. And I mean, Celtic's got a big enough squad anyway that they could replace him for 2 or 3 games and give him a rest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend, Roughie, because Derek McInnes has mentioned that Tony Docherty, his assistant, also mentioned, it's great to have Hearts in there battling away. It makes the battle for second place all the more interesting, although we try and big it up as if there's going to be some pressure on Celtic. But is it really between these two for the second position?
At the moment it looks that way, and Aberdeen back on winning ways. They'll be hoping they can go on another extended run that they did at the beginning of the season. But I think Hearts again have been breath of fresh air as well. I mean, everybody was talking about, if they're top 6 that would be fantastic, but I think the way they're playing just now, I think they'll be setting their targets a wee bit higher than that. Yeah,
don't forget you can join us on Saturday afternoon on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow at 2 o'clock, because over a 4-hour period Gordon Smith, Alan Ruff and Frank McAvenny join me to give you all the information you need on the goals hitting the back of the net across all 4 divisions in Scotland, and of course what's happening down south in the English leagues as well. That's at 2 o'clock on Saturday. If you can't get out to a game, then stick with us here on STV. There's a game tonight that I think a lot of people have mixed emotions on whether it should have gone ahead or not. England against France, Roughie. Maybe some players were slightly surprised that the French authorities says no, the game goes ahead. You don't want to bow to terrorism, but it's still raw in a lot of French people's minds and the players as well.
Yeah, it's a tough one to get your head round, but again the decision's been made up to the players, and the players see themselves as entertainers, and for some reason, a football game can put a smile on people's faces, and I think that's the main reason that they're playing that game. You have to move on, you don't want to be seen to be letting people down, and I'm sure it'll be a very emotional night for a lot of people, players and fans collectively.
Yeah, but not that I think for a minute, it will be heightened security at the match and many other high profile matches now because of it. It's not just about various points in Paris. The Stade de France, it could have been a lot worse in that stadium. The luck was that these people were not allowed inside the stand, so that's why we have to rely on it. I don't envisage any problems tonight at Wembley.
I wouldn't think so. I think the place will be on high alert. But at the end of the day, I think Roughie is right. play the game. I think they need to play the game. We can't just stand and say, what if this happens, what if that happens. It's been scheduled for a long time. Some players will find it difficult, some players will get through it easier than others, and obviously the emotions from the attacks in Paris and the thoughts and prayers go to all the families, but at the end of the day it will be hard for some players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some will get by.
Yeah, I think it'll be emotional, especially when everybody is singing the French national anthem tonight, and of course our best wishes from everyone on the football show. Roughie, I noticed Raoul has retired. It's strange actually when we talk about some people who've lit up El Clasico. You know, he's one of the all-time greats for Real Madrid, but because of this guy Ronaldo, it's eclipsed everything he ever achieved.
And it was amazing in the weekend there when we were doing the Saturday show, we picked our best 11, and I don't think he got a mention from anybody, and he was setting all the Champions League records up, goal scoring records, and he was a joy to watch, but we never picked him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we did have 11 crackers in front of him, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm looking at Stevie Kirk, and I'm almost certain you'd make it into a greatest Motherwell 11 when you consider that day in 1991. It's great to have him in the studio with us, Stevie, talking about Albion Rovers, where his heart is now, of course, as the acting chairman. We wish Albion Rovers all the best. Thanks to Stevie for coming in. Join us tomorrow if you can. We'd love to have your company for more football chat on Peter and Roughie's Football Show. Thanks for watching.